Good afternoon. This is your captain speaking. So, I wanted to just kind of jump on here, talk to you guys a little bit, um, and just, just kind of like talk to you guys and just kind of let you know. So I got a big thing. I told you guys, a few videos ago, I was going to have, I think it was Friday, I said that I'm going to code my first game today. So that's why I'm gonna do that off camera. I don't think I'm gonna stream it because I still gotta go through a full tutorial. So it's not me just working. So yeah, I'm not gonna bore anybody. But this is the mock-up. This is the mock-up for you guys to see. this is this is the game. You feel me? So it's supposed to be super simple. You're supposed to catch the fuel cells. I might scale up the fuel cells so you can see them better when the actual game pops up. But uh, yeah, the fuel cells fall, and you're supposed to collect them with the ship, and then I think I had to make an asteroid too. So I just made Robert Chestnut like rock animations and stuff like that. But what do you guys think about the art? What do you what do you think about the actual background? I mean, I I was trying to really get into my creative groove, right? So I don't know if you could tell this is supposed to be Jupiter. Yeah, this is Jupiter. This is the moon on Jupiter, the big one. Titan. I think, and I don't know if this Titan is the big one. It's just the one I always hear about. So this was supposed to be Titan. I think it's supposed to have a green glow to it. I took the creative liberty of making it yellow. And then we got Neptune in the corner over here. And I think I read somewhere that Neptune has it has rings, but they're just too small to see or something. So I made like the ghostly, ring around that joint. And then we have another galaxy right in the corner over here. So this is the background. So yeah, what y'all think about that? You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, also, um, now, granted, I know that I need to work on the asset creation. I'm not mad at the ship. As far as like the ship shape, I'm not mad. I feel like it could be designed better. But I just was kind of putting some stuff together and just kind of being a little fun with it and whatnot. So this is that. Cockpit, weapons, and you know, aesthetic stuff, right? Boosters and stuff. You know. But that's the design. That's the design. That's it. That's it, and that's all. So finished the assets. So today I should finish the course. I think it's like 2 hours. This segment is like 2 hours, I believe. Um, I think it's like 2 hours, give or take. So I don't think I should be done by the time the night's out, and I'll test play it, let you guys see it, and if you guys want the game, I'll set some way up for you guys to download it, maybe Google Drive or something. I don't know. Um, I'll look into that later. But if you guys want it, I'll figure it out. You guys can play the game. But I wanted to also jump on here and just to talk a little bit. One thing is that I was talking to a friend um yesterday, and I was kind of like telling her like my vision on making the game, because I don't know what it I don't know what it is. I don't know how to describe the sensation that I'm kind of feeling. It's like a level of excitement, but at the same time it's at a level of unknowing. I don't know. I can't describe it because I've never really felt like this before, but I think it's like the perfectionist in me, really wants to do it in a specific way, right? Because it's to me, this is not just a project. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making video games or doing art because I just love art. You know what I mean? I'm doing it because it's necessary. If I knew somebody who could do art, you would never see me do art videos. You know what I'm saying? It's my passion lies into the creation, of the project itself. Not necessarily, and I like to have a say in how certain stuff goes or whatnot. But I find more excitement in not even really the business side of it, but just kind of like that aspect of just creating something new. You know what I'm saying? Like creating something great, huge. That's what this project is to me, and that's where my passion lies in, because I want this project to be so big and immersive, and I want you guys to enjoy it, individual pieces to the project, you know. But I also want them to be fluid, and because it's like it's a certain it's the excitement of changing the industry, you know. For me, like I feel like if I can get this released and worked on and go crazy with it, it would change up how the industry standard. I think that's a vicious thing for me. You know what I mean? Like that's just crazy, and it's because it's like creating something that does, and it's not like revolved around like a greedy mindset. You know, because I think there's a at a point, you know, even being like gamers and being being consumers, there at a certain point you have to understand that everybody has to make profit. And to me, I think the biggest issue in terms of current corporate agendas is like the big man on top gets all the bonuses and everything like that, and the little people on the bottom really don't get any recognition or love or anything like that. And I seen one, I think it's a credit card company that's like switching up the status quo, it's the industry standard and stuff like that. But it's like to take a page out of his book, corporate doesn't have to be that way, but it still has to make money. And I think that like, you know, I don't want to call them cash grabs, but that's what we're just going to call them for the sake of the argument. Cash grabs are viable because it's like you have to bring money into a project somehow to get more things done. And so like in our case, if I did like a quote unquote cash grab, like if I did like digital assets or something like that that you guys can buy, it's because we need to make money for the project so we can do other stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's expensive. It's expensive to do so much of these things. Like, getting into animation. When I was really looking at animation, like how much it was going to cost, like of course, I can get like budget animation and work with other people and get animation stuff done, right? Of course I can. But the time in which that takes, is exponentially longer than industry standard. And to reach industry standard, you're looking at paying 100,000 plus per episode, per episode, man. So in some way, shape, or form, $100,000 has to come from somewhere. I don't have a trust fund, so it's like it has to come from somewhere. So like stuff like that, it's cool. But I think it's like but it's also again it's the notion that like it doesn't have to feel like a grummy cash grab. Like if I'm making digital assets, there should be some utility there. You know what I mean? And because it's a digital asset, it's not a real thing per se. You know, so like it's like I wouldn't release a bunch of skins like just useless skins. I wouldn't release like skins or anything like that inside the Voyager game. Like even if we were to do a collaboration, I wouldn't just. I mean, skins are crazy. Like there's no utility there. It's purely cosmetic, and it was an expensive cosmetic. You know what I mean? A very expensive cosmetic. And so, I feel like something we don't have to do stuff like that. Like we could do digital assets for like property stuff or maybe different car models or something or something like that, right? And so I think it's like when they're thinking about all those things, right? It's just a level of excitement there, just thinking like, damn, this could be really crazy. This could change the industry, like this could shake up everything, and it will be hard to replicate, I mean, I'm not saying it's not impossible. Like once everything is laid out, like once I have everything laid out and functioning, so you guys can, you know, play it, see it, watch it, hear it, stuff like that, you'll recognize the pattern on what it took to get to that point. And it can be replicated, but on terms of just like it never being done before and someone trying to replicate it, it's a hard thing. And so I don't know. It's just that's what makes it so exciting too. It's like, damn, this might be like a once in a lifetime, thing when it comes to making this project come to life. And so I just feel like I say all that, to say like I said, I was talking. I'm gonna bring it back to what I was saying earlier. You feel me? I was talking to my friend about like how I want to release the project. Like the TikTok. I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys the TikTok. Um, I'm thinking about taking an art class, which is fun. Um, and that's a story. And that's maybe a story for another time. But let me get into which TikTok is it? This TikTok. So we're currently sitting at, oh shit. I didn't realize I did. We're hitting 87K, baby. Hell yeah. So we're sitting at about 71, 73, right? On the followers, 7,000 followers, right? It's still in the 300,000 range for likes and stuff like that. I wonder how much this has because I feel like we've been in there for a while. 12,000 likes. Um, 12,000 likes. These ones did okay. These did okay, right? This one did pretty good. This one did pretty good. Um, this one did really good. This one did pretty good. This one did fantastic, and these one did okay. But you know, um, I was just trying to I was trying to tell it, like looking at the project, right? I think it's just more so like this particular project, this particular TikTok, um, 60 followers on this one too. So this is as you would see, this is our C plus publishing. Got a fun segment for this one where every day I'm working on the map, as you guys probably seen, right? I think it's this one right here. Every day working on the map, adding new houses to the map and adding new pieces and parts to the map. Right now I'm filling out the grass areas and stuff like that, creating the boundaries. That's going to go throughout the map and things like that. And then I need to work on the sidewalk systems. I think the road systems should be fine for the most part, but fix up the sidewalk systems, get everything established. This is supposed to be the shopping area, so I'll get this worked up and situated. And then I'm probably damn, I gotta delete most of these over here. I'm gonna have to reconfigure this because over here I'm gonna make like a beach. This is like the beach cove, right? And then that'd be like the port. So it'd be like the I think like the beach part should be like down here. Like this should be like the beach strip down here. And then this is kind of like the hidden cove. This is like the beach cove, and then up here would be more so the boat and docking area, stuff like that. So I probably could have. Oh, okay. I didn't know what these like white specks were, and that's just that's me. That's me. My bad. Um, I probably should have like the water a different shade, so you can see the shallow end versus the deep end. So I should have did like a different shade, but I don't want to get into that. It's okay for right now. Um, it's not a big deal. When the game officially releases, it'll be a big deal then. But right now, it's not a big deal. Um, assets and stuff, right? But yeah, just bringing it up because I was just kind of showing you guys that. But when I was talking to my friend and we were just kind of like going over just like how everything is progressing and stuff like that, which is it's really good. It's a really good thing, you know. Um, we're doing well, and I was telling her like with Voyager Station, it's simply supposed to be a entertainment page, right? Like this is the page that has all the um, promo videos, story prompts, uh, like advertising and stuff. Like no, that's promo video stuff, not advertising. It's gameplay, stuff like anything to like market everything that the entertainment. It's anything to market the entertainment inside of the project. It goes on this page, and I was just trying to tell her like I think that this page needs to hit around 100,000 before I start truly releasing stuff. And the website's live too. The website's live, so I'll show you guys that too. Website's live, and you can go through it. And there's a shop too, so we have some stuff. I'm not really promoting the stickers because I feel like I can present them better, and until I present them better, I don't really want to market them right now. But they're there if you guys ever wanted to buy anything. And it's a pricey on there. I'm gonna keep it a bean. It's a pricey point standpoint, but you can also get a 3 pack for 10. That's cool. But it's only pricey only because all the proceeds go to pushing the project. So like I'm not in the business to sell stickers specifically. This is more so if you guys wanted to support the project somehow, you could, you could purchase one of the stickers, and all the money that goes to it, I just set aside to further develop the project. So like I'll either if enough money comes in, I'll hire like an artist or something like that. Like because right now, as you've seen, I do everything myself. So it's a lot of the now I'm not gonna say delay, but it does take a lot longer because I have to learn how to do certain stuff, right? Like it took me 3 weeks to learn how to do pixel art to this level, right? To be able to create stuff on this scale, right? This took me 3 weeks to learn, right? And I'm still am by right an amateur, so I'm in no shape or form um any doing any better than anything else or anything like that, right? So um it's just like one of those things, you know what I mean? Like it just takes a long time. But if I have money set aside, I can hire out and outsource, certain things to other people to kind of like streamline stuff. But going back to it, it's like the this project is supposed to be like that. And I think at 100,000, it justifies an audience, right? That we could potentially start pushing other stuff too. So I think at 100,000 followers, I will start pivoting the content to start including, and I feel as though that's enough time too. Like I don't think I'll get 100,000 followers tomorrow. You feel me? So I have enough time to start building up other content. Like working on a comic strip, um, and that's another thing we'll get into a little bit later. But working on a comic strip that we can promote throughout the life of the project itself, right? So we can start promoting the comic, things like that. Even like panels inside of the comic, we can promote those. You know what I mean? But there's 100,000 people seeing it, and there's probably more will see it. In the grand scheme of things, because our outreach is a lot better, right? So at 100,000, it makes sense. You feel me? Now to get into like other aspects, like the video games, I was telling there's like when doing the video games at 100,000 followers, it's I see releasing the comics, right? The comics can get released at 100,000 followers. After that, then we can start when we start having stuff kind of like lock in at that point. Then we can look at okay, let's start actually coding the first video game. And this throughout this whole journey, I'm going to be coding my own game. But I won't. I'm never going to mention anything about it until we get to that. Get to that point, right? Because even if let's just say we hit to 100,000, we release the comics, right? And let's just say we the comics do great. That's revenue coming in, and so I can hire people to look at the code that I've already created because I know it's going to be amateur code. They can look at the code I've already created and they can kind of fix it up to a point where like, okay, it's game itself can be good enough to demo, right? And so when the game is ready to be demoed, then I'll release the demo and we'll start marketing the game and things like that. And I was just telling her like the games themselves, we have 3 games. So in phase one, let me just also say, in Voyager's phase one, we have the comic series, which isn't just one. It's not necessarily one story. Again, this is Voyager Legends. You feel me? And so the comic series, instead of this right here, um, this post talks about it, right? This was supposed to be a book. This is supposed to be a whole book series. Like I was going to do a short story, so like book series, right? And there's going to be 5 books. This makes the entire chapter or whatever, right? So instead of doing these 5, these are going to basically I've turned these into arcs, right? So these are going to be comics now. They're not. They're no longer books, short stories. They're going to be comics now, and these are going to be 5 arcs. Dragon's Conquest, the Death of Eve, the Abandoned Kingdom, um, the War, and Awakening. And I can go into them briefly what the arcs are going to be, but that would be spoiling, and that's no fun. But this is what you guys get. This is what I'm gonna tell you guys about that, right? And so, you know, those become the thing. Those become pinnacle. And establishing what this project is. As a whole, and then We also have three video games, and that's all phase one. Like that's it, everything in phase one. And I'm gonna go. I gotta go through my thing to take out. I put digital assets, and it's not supposed to be in there, but it's the three games in the comic series. Now, the comic series is his own has its own um, direction, right? So like the individual pieces, like the games, the comics, the animated shows, they all have their own trajectories, right? They're not all supposed to like line up in the middle or nothing like that. They all carry off into their own. They all branch off into their own situations. But the first game I think needs to be the released was Hunter, right? Which is going to be the platformer roguelike, dungeon roguelike that we're going to do. And the reason why that one has to be first is because that is the only story driver when it comes to the game itself, right? So when it comes to the Voyager series, where I'm going to cram in so much lore into that fucking game, like it's going to give you that much more of a reason to explore it, right? And the story itself kind of propels, the mystery behind why the world is the way it is, right? And so it's a story driver, right? Now, I'm not expecting the game to be like crazy. So I was looking up like the game, the revenue stats for like certain games. My game to me has the most relation to Risk of Rain and Dead Cell. I think that's what it's called. That is supposed to be like a blend between the two in terms of like movement and things like that. Um, and so I'm trying to use that as the whiteboard for the Voyager project, right? And so again, you can read all the lore and things like that, and then it's supposed to be competitive and challenging because the story element of Hunter is going to be mixed in with the dungeons, and so if you watch like, one of the videos when I talked about Hunter specifically, I break Hunter up into different dungeons with each dungeon becoming increasingly more difficult, right? And in order to there will be a leaderboard, and on that leaderboard, and it will only be in hardcore legend mode, I should say, where you get one character, one life. There is bonuses for you have to connect to online because it's an online leaderboard where it tracks the first people. It tracks every time a squad is KIA, right? It goes on the wall, so it always tracks that, and it also tracks the first teams to clear dungeons, right? So that's going to be like the only real online, components um, besides online multiplayer, right? Or co-op, I should say. Um, but yeah, so it establishes those things. The second game, Voyage of Cities, is supposed to be the grounding foundation to the open world we're going to create, right? Where Cities is basically online simulation game with human interference, right? So you can create your avatar, you can grow a business that affects the Voyager universe, right? Open up a store, open up a chain of stores, right? Get into politics, you know what I'm saying? So on and so forth, right? It's different things that you can do that play key roles inside of the Voyager universe, and you can create alliances, you can create pirate crews, you can do all these. The object is to you can do all these different things, right? And again, it's because it's all simulated. You don't actually physically do it yourself. It's a simulation, so you get people to do it, right? So all this is going to be built upon that layer. And the open world is supposed to be a game laid on top of another game, right? So when you play the open world game that I'm intended to come out with, that game operates on the first one, the 2D one, where all the AI running and all the everything that's kind of runs through it, it takes all that data, copies it on there. That's the initial idea, right? But so it's basically supposed to be the foundation of that. And then the last one is Voyager Legends, and which is that is the card game that I created. And with that card game, It's the reason why it has to be last is because I have to interest you guys in the Voyager universe in general, right? Like I don't really know if you would or not. I don't really know. I never really like research or anything like that. But the game itself is fun, but I don't know if people would pick up a card game of a game that they've never heard of before. You know what I'm saying? And so the releasing the first, and it's not necessarily. I feel like it might be second TBH, right? Because it's not the second game. Voyager Cities is a big undertaking, and so to say that there should be second is probably premature. But no matter what, Hunter has to be released first, and maybe Voyager Legends after that, right? And so, you do that because I feel like people have to be ingratiated or introduced, and they have to be introduced into the world of Voyager itself before they start picking up a card game and seeing characters that they've never necessarily seen before. And on top of that, um, with the card game comes out, like again, the comics should be flowing. So like you would have seen some of the characters from the comics in the card game, right? And so, just like one of those things, it's just a natural process, I think I like to call it. And so it's just an interesting way. Like that's how I look at it in terms of like planning wise and things like that. That's how I look at it. And I was having that conversation with my friend because, you know, I will stress. I cannot stress it enough. I think I talk about it a lot in a lot of videos that I make. Your plan has to always pivot. Like you have to be able to pivot your plan to work out with the circumstances in front of you, right? Yesterday you could have had a clear skies, great for dirt biking. You know what I'm saying? And so you planned the whole day around that shit. And today it could be raining. So it's like you're gonna dirt bike in the rain, you're gonna figure out something else to do. You know what I mean? Like that it's just it's as simple as that. You know what I mean? Your plan, your idea, your project has to be able to pivot because what I just stated to you guys, right? That was not the original plan, you know. Although the core plan stays the same, right? Like my core plan has stayed the same. Like the vision has stayed the same. But to get to that point, it has pivoted a couple times. You know what I mean? Like because when I first got on here and started talking about the Voyager project, Hunter wasn't a thing. Like I didn't think of Hunter as like that wasn't the first go. I think the first go was the Voyager Cities, and really before that, Voyager Legends really was the first go. You know what I'm saying? Or it's like the short stories. Like I didn't even think about the comic situation because I'm like, why would I do a comic and I could just blah 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 blah. And it's just kind of like I'm like, nah. Like at this present time, I'm like, nah. Like why would I do a short story? I should just do a comic. And if I can't find a comic artist, I'll just learn how to draw myself. You know what I'm saying? Like the comic doesn't have to have the best graphics in the world. It just has to have a good enough story. And I mean graphics don't have to be good. I'm not going to give you guys a bowl of crap to read. I promise. But it's I'm just going to take the time to learn, and then and in the meantime, while I learn, if I come across somebody who is an artist and they want to partner, because that was another thing too, is like I definitely want to partner with people on this. Like this isn't I although Voyager is Voyager is not the partnership, but there is the notion of creating the entities within the project as a partnership. Like if I work with somebody, we create like a character, like we create a character and a story. Because I would write the story and you would illustrate it. I feel like shit, we should 50-50 that. Let's just partner and just 50-50 and let's just rock this out. You know what I'm saying? Like I've gotten to that point in the project where I'm confident that we would go crazy. I'm confident that if we release the comic, people would eat that shit up. I'm confident that we would have a great partnership together. You know what I'm saying? Just and it's like not to toot my own horn, um, but it's just like that's just the vibe. I feel like that's the thing. And so, but another thing is like I'm also not going to go out my way to find artists. I feel like if artists find the page or they just someone if you guys recommend somebody if you've seen this video if you're watching and like oh my friend is an artist and they're looking to do something, man, send them over. Like I'm gonna work with them like that. But I'm not gonna go out my way. 'Cause I think me going out of my way to find artists makes it less special. You know what I mean? Because it's just like it's me trying to approach you on an idea, right? And what I want you to do is approach me with an idea. I want you to be like, hey, I see your project. I see what you're going with it. I got this character that I want to create. Hell yeah. You feel me? Because then I feel like then there's a true meeting of the minds at that point, you know? Because if I go find you, I'm going to go find you with the intention of my vision. And that's just a working relationship. Like that's to me that's not a partnership. I want you to recreate what I think about. Like that's why I was if I searched you out, if I looked to search up artists, it's because I'm like, I got an idea for your art style that I want to use. Like that doesn't really make the partnership to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I want you to come with me with ideas. Submit your portfolio. Tell me about it, and then I'll be like, oh, let me see what let me work with this a little bit. Let me see how I can fit this in the story, and then by God, we fit it in the story, and then we talk about it. So these are the rules of Voyager. So this is what we have to kind of like buy, God, bide by. But this is the story I thought about. What do you think about this? And run with that shit. Like I think that's how that's supposed to be. So, and it's the same thing with the video games as well too. Is like, if I went to go find a video game, someone who could code and stuff, again, it's not because I'm looking for you to, you know, it's not meeting the minds. I'm looking for you to be able to help me finish code that I maybe can't do. You know what I mean? So it's not really a meeting in the mind situation. So it's just like a couple of things. I just wanted to just throw that out there because I just feel like that's the point I'm at in this project, and I had never been there before because at this point it's growing the audience. Like let's just say, I mean, think about the crazy exposure that pops off. Like let's say we partner, let's me and you. I don't know who you are, but let's say you have a talent. You know what I'm saying, and you go like, hey, I want to partner and do this. Like, imagine I'm like, all right, bet. And we start working it. Imagine I start doing it and we do a post like this. Let's imagine we do a post that got 3, 4, 5, 6 million views on it. You know what I'm saying? What if we got a couple of posts that got 4, 5, 6, 7 million views on it? You know what I'm saying? And from there, it's like, damn, we got something cooking. So, from you never really know. I mean, I can't tell you because I don't have I've never promoted a project to convert people, so I don't know if these are just viewers or they're obviously followers, and we obviously get the views and the interactions because it's also like even with these ones being like low, like let's just look at these. Even with this one being low, I don't know if the views are up there. Well, this was 1,600 views and the 167 um, likes. You're still in the 10% ratio. Like all these videos, I didn't know if that was going to be. I didn't know if that was going to be. If I was going to talk too much shit just now, because I don't. Anyone. I don't like to lie. Like this one, 57. Like yeah. So this one didn't hit it, but most of the videos have a 10% conversion in terms of in their engagement, right? So because they always say a successful brand has a 1% conversion rate, right? Like, think about Nike. Let's look at their Instagram real quick. If Nike has 303 million followers, a 1% conversion on that's what makes them $1 billion company. You get what I'm saying? Like, a successful business has a 1% conversion rate, right? And so, um, they're just the biggest notions that you take away from that is like in terms of for our stuff in particular, right? You get sucked into me saying like our conversion rate fantastic, right? If we can get in terms of engagement, right? In terms of engagement, 10% fantastic, right? Like that's numbers that we like to hear, see, experience, all that, right? We love the 10%. Of that 10%, shit, that's where you get to a 1%. Like for us, let's say at 7,000 followers, You know, 1% will be like what, 70 people, right? If 70 people bought a comic, crazy work for us. That's what. Let's just say digital comics would be like. Let's just say we sold digital comics at like five, and I don't know what you would sell digital comics at, mind you. You know, I've never really did any looking up or anything like that. I think that physical comics are selling for like $20. I think it's like $20 I saw. Um, not 100% sure, but yeah, I do believe it's about $20 or so. Um, if we sold the digital comics at like $10, right? Then that's what, 70 people said $700. Yeah, $700. So, that's money we didn't have before. And I mean, that's just like, I mean, that's obviously terrible numbers in terms of like selling a comic. You want to talk about numbers like selling 10,000 units. You sold like 10,000 units. Hell yeah. That's a conversion, right? That's 70 grand. No, it's not. Sorry. 10,000 units is 100,000. I don't know why I said 70 because I was still thinking about the 70 people. Um, but yeah, 10,000 units, you sell it for $10 a pop, 100 grand right there. We splitting that shit 50-50. Come on. Right? And so, but you can get there when you hitting numbers like these, when you have conversions like this. So I feel like the project before was just never in a position for me to talk about that, but it is now. And I just feel like we should be making this money together. The hell of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we should be making this money together. We should be getting this. We should be putting our stuff out there together. We should really be building stuff up. And ultimately, you are building up the Voyager project, but at the same time, it's like, you could be. This could be like a Invincible situation. The guy who came out with Invincible is the same guy who came out with The Walking Dead, right? Two massively popular things. You feel what I'm saying? Two massively popular entities under one publishing house or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, I just feel like I just say look at it like that, really. But yeah, I mean that was it. So I just feel like, it's Sunday, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Um, I wanted to be able to see if I can get this done. I'm trying to see if I can get this coded up before the sun go down. And I want to work on a couple of the things. But I just want to, again, it's Sunday. I want to talk a little bit about with you guys, the project and everything like that. Um, and I did tell you guys that on Sundays I'm gonna go back to my captain's log. We're going back to the captain's logs, and I'm gonna be talking about more of the game stuff, not necessarily inspirational shit, give or take. You feel me? Because stuff is moving, and I couldn't talk about it as much before because it's like, again, stuff wasn't really moving per se. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of everything was kind of like at a standstill because I was still trying to figure stuff out. But now that I figured it out, and again, maybe pivoting, but the work is still being done. Making maps, making characters, making assets, items, things like that, learning the code. There's updates to tell you guys about, and this is one of them. So, like, without further ado, again, I'm trying to keep it under the 45. You feel me? Sometimes my videos gets way too long. So, without further ado, this is your captain signing out.